All right, guys, welcome to the newest episode of the Neverland Podcast, man. Today, another super dope guest, man. I got Jayson on. He's a cinematographer. Got it this time. He's super dope, dude. He's from Chicago.
Thank you.
Amazing stuff. I'll definitely go check out his Instagram. Go check
Appreciate
everything
it.
out.
Yeah.
Super dope stuff.
Thank you, man.
But yeah, man, like the first thing I always ask my guest is your top five, your personal top five artists.
Ooh, that is a great question. I'm kind of developing a list because I wasn't really into hip hop that much or music in general. A lot younger, so say like the last 5 years I've gotten more into it. But top five artists, I don't know if I could pick a top five, but just some artists that I think are really dope, like Ian Dior. I mean, I don't think he's necessarily like the best by any means, but he's young and I feel like every song he puts out is a banger. I don't know. There's just something I can't explain about it. Jack Harlow, another great guy. And of course you got the greats, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. Like I'll just listen to those albums on mix every day. Like
True.
you just cannot go wrong with that stuff. Juice WRLD, R.I.P. Man. Looking at the Spotify statistic that you get at the end of every year, 2019, he was like most listened to artist, I think. So Juice WRLD definitely got a special place in my heart. Such good music, such a talented guy. Yeah, man. Who else? Trying to think. I mean, you got all the trappers, Gunna, Lil Baby, Uzi Vert, all these guys like Travis Scott. They all put out cool stuff. Like, yeah. And then I like some alternative like indie music as well. Like not a ton, but what's the guy's name? The guy who made Banana Pancakes. Forgot his name. Jack Johnson. That dude. That's like super chill, like guitar, like instrumental kind of stuff. So nice. Love that when I'm like in a chill mood. Russ, not really the same. Russ is pretty cold. But yeah, man, there's just tons of people. Yeah. How about you?
Well, on my top five, it's Lil Wayne, Kanye, Kanye. Who else? Oh yeah, Kendrick, Cole, and then my fifth. It always shifts. It could be like Jay-Z one day. It could be Thug the next. It's like Drake sometimes. So it's like the fifth spot is always like open. It's helping to whatever I'm feeling.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so like I mean, we were talking literally just now before actually recording, and then we were talking about how you're literally only 16. Or you just turned 16? You said?
Yeah, my birthday was on the 22nd. So.
Oh dang! So belated happy birthday.
Freshly 16. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was great. I mean, the DMVs are shut down, so I can't get my license. It's crazy.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, that's actually ridiculous.
All my friends are like hyping me up, like, yes, you're gonna be 16, and you're gonna be able to like go and drive yourself to shoots without my mom or my grandma. It's not happening yet.
Everything shut down.
But soon, I'm hoping I'll be able to do it. And I've driven so much already, like my permit.
Yeah,
the city like all the time for shoots. I've gone to Indiana. I've gone to Atlanta, just driving for shoots. Like, So yeah.
Dang, dude, that makes me feel old, bro. Thinking about getting my license. Dang, I'm only 22, but shit.
Damn.
But so at 16, when were you like, okay, like when did you first start developing that interest of like, dang, let me go into this field? Obviously, it wasn't. I'm assuming it's not directly into the music industry, but when were you like, okay, let me just pick a camera up?
Yep. So I think I have a cool little story. So when I was like 7, 8, I was homeschooled, and for school trips, we'd go to the Field Museum in downtown Chicago with my mom and my grandma, and they always brought like a little what do you call it, an instant film camera, like one of those. I forgot the name of it. It's not Fuji, Kodak, one of those Kodak ones. Yeah. And I remember one day, I don't remember, my mom told me, she said that I asked if I could take the camera, and I just started taking pictures, and I just remember loving it. I remember just like, oh wow, just positive feelings around around taking photos. That was when I was like 8 years old, I think. And I mean, it was kind of not really something I thought much about. It was just something cool. And then around the time I think I was like 9 or 10, uh, I was getting into Nerf guns, and I was watching YouTube videos with like Nerf War skits and POV videos, that kind of thing. So I started to make Nerf War videos with my friends, and that was a ton of fun. I was like filming on the iPad, I think, like my mom's iPad, and my friends. We were just having fun, but I was like getting super serious with it, and I was like trying to make it legit, and my friends were just screwing around. I just remember like trying to be that bossy director, like, "Yo, we got to make this happen," and being like 10
Just make it
years
look
old.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I learned how to edit an iMovie on the iPad like
Hmm.
10, 11 years old, and
Yeah.
me and my friends started a little YouTube channel, and we started making like vlogs and that kind of thing, just like neighborhood kids. And uh, from there, it grew into doing YouTube videos on my own. I got a GoPro, had that for a while, and then for Christmas, I asked for a DSLR, Canon Rebel T6i. Shout out, still have it today. Shot my first music video on it. Uh,
Oh.
Hell yeah! And that thing. I mean, honestly, like it took me a long way. I started. That was like 12, 13. Yeah, yeah. So I started taking pictures with that. I learned how settings work. All that jazz. And I started doing a couple photo shoots with some friends. And the first photo shoot I did, I entered it at a local fair in Sandwich, a sandwich fair, and I won some awards for that. And that was kind of my moment where I was like, oh, this is something like I think I kind of want to try doing a little bit more seriously, or at least put
Hmm.
more thought into it. Because before it was just a hobby, just out there, right?
Right. Right.
But I was like, oh, cool. I was like, dang, I think I'm talented with this, or I have something there. Uh, that was really cool to do. Around that time, okay, I had a YouTube channel with like 80 some videos. I'd learned how to shoot, how to edit, uh, how to do running guns to an extent, because I was always trying to do like cinematic B-roll and add
Damn.
dimension to the vlogs. Like they were cringy as hell, but it taught me how to shoot, taught me how to edit,
Right.
and
Right.
so that was kind of the start. Around that time, like around the time I made my last video, uh, was starting to get more into like a professional viewpoint to filmmaking. It was when my focus started shifting from photography to film. I just kind of lost that passion for the YouTube videos,
Mm.
and filmmaking, just like as a craft, started to become more interesting to me. Uh, I had the opportunity to go to Central America for a couple months with the missions organization, and they didn't have any camera team or anything like that, so they kind of let me shoot a bunch of videos with them, and they were doing dope stuff,
Mm.
going into schools and like spreading the gospel with kids who are like really underprivileged and like wanting to commit suicide, and just like there's so many kids are like super depressed there, and I just got to
Mm.
like document some stories, and that was my first time doing like documentary stuff, or doing work for a client, quote unquote, even though it was
Yeah.
unpaid and just for passion. uh,
Hmm.
I was like crafting stories with something meaningful, and that's when I really fell in love with the art of filmmaking as a means to share a story that has meaning and can affect people on a deep personal level. That's where my love of film really like started to take off. And I met this guy named Bjorn Amundsen, and he's just kind of been like a mentor for me ever since. This guy, he's a professional cinematographer, works on really high end commercial stuff, documentary, some narrative work. He shot video with like Arnold Schwarzenegger and LeBron James. He's gone all over the world shooting like documentaries in Africa and Asia, and like just showing the lives of like underprivileged people, and then doing like commercial stuff. And he's just
Hmm.
super super talented, and he introduced me to like film sets, like what is a film set, and I got to realize like there's so much I didn't know, because around that point I didn't have my mind on anything higher, really. I was just like,
Hmm.
oh, there's this new gimbal, and I want to get this
Yeah.
lens and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But my focus and my perspective shifted to a much more elevated place where I saw what was possible for a shoot, and how it involved a crew and how it involved serious planning and pre-production, and just all these department roles and all that stuff was new to me. And that was around February of 2019. Um, so that really motivated me to start doing my own like work seriously, getting paid for it. So that's when I started shooting music videos. I shot my first music video April 26th, 2019. I was on the T6i, and it's different than a lot of people who shot their first music video because I already had a lot of, I mean, relatively, I had experience with videography and that type of thing. So, it's not that, yeah, it's not the same as most people who shoot their first music video with like, who don't really, are still learning.
You knew basically how to do everything.
Yeah. But still, like, that was when I was 14, and it's just really gone off. Like, almost exactly 1 year later, I was in Atlanta with Laka and Brandon, and I DP'd part of the 2K Baby music video Old Soul featuring G Herbo. I got to DP that like 1 year after I made my first video.
That's crazy.
And that's like probably one of my biggest achievements, and just like seeing that 1 year progression, that was a pretty cool feeling to experience for sure. Yeah. And now, now I'm just like trying to do it more, just keep going.
Yeah. That's super cool, man. That's super cool just because it's like, I feel like it's just such a different story in the sense that like I don't know, like it's just like you literally came from like you literally just wanted to shoot just because it's just as a hobby, but like it just happened to turn into something like crazy. And I'm sure there's like a lot more stuff that you still have to do, you still want to do.
Oh,
and it's like, yeah, but it's like literally from like what, like a couple years ago, like you wouldn't have even thought of this as like a profession. But it's like now, like you could see like, oh, like I could do this like forever now, basically. But dude, that's crazy. That's super dope, bro.
Thank you, man.
That's super dope. So what's been like the craziest set you've been at so far?
Definitely the one I just did on Saturday the 23rd. We had 15 crew members, like what, 10 extras, like Corley and his crew. We had like a production designer build out this awesome set for like a dinner scene, and then we're shooting like in a forest, and then at a house, and it was all very, very planned out. Like Chris and I gained a huge level of understanding. Chris was directing. We gained a huge understanding of the importance of pre-production, just because we'd really done it and we saw how it turned out. It was by far the best shoot I've ever been on. Got to work with an amazing team. Could not have done it without them. So many people just being very generous with their time and their equipment to come out and help bring the video to life. And it was an incredible experience. So I'll never forget it. Yeah, but that was the biggest set.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, bro. Are you ever, I feel like this is probably like when you were first getting started, but did you kind of ever feel kind of self-conscious about your age, that you were like, oh, I'm like the youngest person here? Or was it ever, or was that even like a thought?
Yeah, it was an awareness. I try to be a very self-aware person, and I realized, I noticed how that would sometimes change the dynamic of things. So what I generally do is I don't disclose my age usually until either they ask, or if I'm feeling comfortable with them, I'll do it at the end of the shoot. And I love doing it. People just always have the best reactions, and it's just something kind of fun it's just kind of entertaining. But yeah, I mean, definitely people will treat you differently if they find out at the beginning, because imagine you're say a second camera assistant, and your job is to swap out lenses and switch batteries, and like, dang, this kid's at the time like 15, and then bam, you have a $40,000 lens. That is not something that you want an irresponsible person to be using. So that was some of the issue, and then as I've grown into doing more shoots, at the top level, like as a DP or director, sometimes people I haven't encountered it yet. Thankfully, I've been surrounded by a lot of very positive, supportive people.
Mhm.
But there have been times where it borders on uh, kind of downplaying me because of my age. I don't know if that's the
True,
right
true.
expression,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you're not regarded as an equal when you are an equal or even superior to them
True,
on a
right,
film
yeah,
set.
yeah.
Uh, and sometimes I actually do they have a reason to be doing that. I have done something incorrect or like, but it's all part of the learning experience. And just
Right.
because you are an experience like that doesn't necessarily give you the right to be a jerk. I'm not saying anyone's done
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
exact example.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just giving kind of like a reference point for what
Yeah,
could happen in the right
right,
scenario. So like I said,
right.
I've been super fortunate to been surrounded by almost entirely great supportive
Mhm.
people on all my shoots. Uh, but I've heard stories of stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, like, as long as you have the confidence and you're,
Hmm.
like, because, like, even if you make a mistake, it's like everyone makes mistakes, and like you said,
Exactly.
it's part of the learning process, but it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. At the
Hmm.
end of the day, like, I know exactly what I'm doing, so I think and then also, like, yeah, I think it's just I feel like there's very few people who are successful, but then they're also jerks at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you get the rare few, but like, especially in like the music industry, I feel like, or
Hmm.
like at least from like people I've been talking to, it's like everyone like either A is like super supportive, or they're like, okay, like this is kind of how you do it. You don't move like that or whatever. So I think that's
Sure.
why it's just dope. Like, I think it's a great like field to be in a way.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. And on the topic of like just being successful, I've been like reading books on successful people and
Hmm.
what brings someone to success. What did they do to get there? And when you break it down to almost a psychological standpoint and their thought process going into it, it is almost always fueled by a burning desire for something, a strong
Hmm.
passion for it, and then a plan to
Right.
achieve it. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so I believe this very strongly that whatever you ask out of life is possible.
Hmm.
You just need to have that passion for it, and you need to come up with a plan to do it. Because some people will have very large, big goals and aspirations, yet they're not taking the steps
The
to
work. Yeah.
achieve their goals. So that's why I say like those two steps. Really, anything can happen, and
Hmm.
um, I've been super fortunate and blessed to have been surrounded by the right people. Uh, Getting into this, so like only been doing this for a short time, and uh, making big steps and progressions. I definitely do attribute a lot of that just to the great people who I've been surrounded with, like Bjorn, and as I mentioned before, and Chris, and so many other people. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. This dope, bro. This dope. Thanks. So, like, are you eventually trying to get into directing, anything like that, or do you think you're gonna stick behind that role for right now?
Yep. Yep. So I definitely want to try out directing more, but it would only be on a music video level.
Mm,
Personally, I'm not that great with stories. That is not one of my strong
mm,
suits. I feel very confident behind the camera as a DP,
mm,
directing the photography of a video,
yeah.
um, and that's just kind of honestly, it was never really a conscious decision where I was like, this is what I want to do. It was just kind of a place I found myself in where I was more passionate and more connected to
Right.
the lighting and the camera movement uh, and the blocking of a scene rather than
Mm,
the story or any kind of like theme that goes behind it. Um,
mm,
but I think to be a good crew member on any production, it requires a good understanding of an entire production and all the roles that go into it. So I think just for the sake of being a balanced person and understanding as much as possible, I definitely do want to give directing more of a shot, just
mm.
because there's so much that goes into it that affects the relationship between all the crew members and just how the shoot turns out.
Right, right. So, like, so for you, even before like actually recording or setting anything up, do you personally go to like the director and you're like, okay, what's your vision for it, and then let me put my input, or is it more so like you're kind of you're kind of changing things on the fly in a
Yep,
sense?
yep. So I've done both, and
Yeah.
I have seen time and time again how unplanned shoots are always inferior to structured and planned shoots. So usually, like if I'm meeting the director for the first time and I'll study the treatment, or in the future I'll be studying scripts, whatever. I'll be assessing the needs and the challenges and any opportunities that might be there. And then usually I'll get on a call with the director and we go through it. I'll ask treatments about the treatment. I'll ask, what is most important to you? Like, what do you
Hmm.
value the most?
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah. And then like, are there any shots you're envisioning that require like specialty treatment? Uh, what are your biggest frustrations? Who are we shooting with? Like all these things are conversations I come up with to gain insight on their directing style and what I can be expecting, and then how I can put my input into it to make it a better piece. Yeah.
True. True. Is there like a certain like equipment or like certain shot that if they say you're like, okay, bet like I love doing this, or is it one of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things where you're like whatever?
definitely. Hell, I mean, I really love RE products. I got the hat. I mean,
Mhm.
I haven't had the opportunity to shoot on like the RE Alexa Mini, which is I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's like the industry standard
Yeah. Yeah.
for high end film production. I haven't shot on that thing yet, or like the Mini LF, but those would be like awesome. We almost got to shoot on those Saturday. There's a little
Dang.
hiccup, but if it comes to a type of shots I really like to get, or I would say it's more based on the setting. I really like nighttime interiors, and I
True.
think I'm starting to like nighttime exteriors. Just being able to craft the scene with light in a much
Hmm.
more stylized way. Not necessarily even just stylized, but intentional. You have the
Hmm.
lights, you get to craft the look of it. That's something that I really enjoy.
Oh, bro, dang. Do you edit at all, or are you just like strictly
Yeah,
shooting?
yeah. So I know how to edit. I can edit. I don't necessarily like to edit.
Yeah.
Um, I've done some run and guns. Like I even just did one recently that I'm editing. But I don't consider that to be something that I would do professionally, or set myself
Yeah.
out there as something to pursue to edit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because the editing's a pain. Like even
Yeah,
for this
some
is
people love
it's
it.
just
Some people just love being
yeah.
behind a computer
Yeah.
for 12 hours a day. And with this all this coronavirus stuff, like
True.
heck,
Yeah, you might as
I
well. Yeah.
editors are sitting high and well. So more
Yeah.
power to
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
True. True. Dang. And yeah, like talking about Corona, like how has that affected you? Like I'm sure you should shoots down, shut a bunch of things down, but like how
Yeah.
big of an effect, I guess.
I would say it was pretty small.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, don't really need to be making money necessarily at my
Yeah.
age and
Yeah.
all that. So financially, it wasn't really any setback. Um, Definitely there were shoots that would have happened that didn't end up happening.
Hmm.
And I was on such a grind at the beginning of this year. I reached out to a ton of people and started getting on hella sets. I kind of shifted my perspective from shooting stuff to wanting to get behind, the, get behind, no, not get behind, like get in the set as a production assistant or a grip,
Hmm.
and learn everything I could about a set.
Yeah.
And that connected me with a ton of people, gained me a ton of experience, and I was really going on a roll. Like mid March was when that all started. And I remember like, few shoots that I planned just to help on as like a grip or whatever got canceled. Uh,
Yeah.
but at that time, I wasn't really pursuing anything like in the DP role because I was just focused on learning, the fine details of a set. So
Right.
that's why I would say it was like a small effect. And then just planning out shoots during quarantine was the big thing. And uh, you know, yeah, I would say that's how it affected me really.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
How
do
about
in your free time?
oh, in my free time? Yeah. Was never much of a movie fan growing up, funny enough, but I've realized that I really need to get into movies. So I've watched a lot of movies. Uh, have
Your
some friends
favorites?
who,
You have any favorites?
favorites, man, so good. Like I saw Goodfellas recently. I've
Ooh,
been wanting to watch it for a long time. Never got around to it. That movie is just incredible.
It's a bunch of you're watching like kind of old classics.
I love old classics. Yeah, I love new movies too.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's also good. There's just something about movies that are shot on old film. Film just has a certain quality to it that can't be reproduced digitally, and I can just see such a fine attention to detail that isn't always there in new movies. So I really do enjoy just the fine art of that. But let me think. 5 new movies that I really love. Of course, Blade Runner 2049, Roger Deakins. If you're in the film world, man, everyone that is like, that's just an obvious favorite. What else? Like, honestly, anything Roger Deakins has shot, like No Country for Old Men, Shawshank Redemption.
True.
What else? 1917 is like one of the new movies that he just did. Like all that stuff. I'm trying to think. Oh, a movie that's not so well known that I think is just beautifully shot is Macbeth. I mean, it was a big movie, but I feel like some people I ask still don't know what it is. It's like this old Shakespeare play made into a film. It was just incredible. Just love the cinematography so much. They utilize a lot of.
Do you like notice do you notice the camera work a lot? Like when you're a person watching, that's what you're like kind of keying in on.
Definitely, yeah. I'll study films with the sound off sometimes and just focus on the cinematography.
That's cool.
Yeah, because if it's a good film, you'll get sucked into the story. So usually I don't pay full attention to the blocking and the lighting before like the first time around. But if it's a good enough film, I'll definitely rewatch it. And I hear a lot of people will write. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, I just muted myself for a second. They like write out the camera blocking and like draw out what they think the lighting was and that type of thing. That's something I want to try out. But yeah, definitely like so many great movies. Definitely opened myself up to it, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So you're just binging a bunch.
I mean, not binging a bunch. Like I've definitely been doing more than just that. Like, hanging out with the family a lot. Honestly, like we love my family. Specifically, I'll give a huge shout out to my mom because I would not be able to do any of this stuff I've done without her. I know it's kind of off topic a little bit, but like I would not be able to get myself to any of these shoots without her. She's the biggest supporter I could ask for. So definitely a big shout out to her. And
shout out moms.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out moms everywhere, like for real. Yeah. They're the OGs. Even if they beat your ass every once in a while, like they're in for the long haul. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. Yeah, how has quarantine been affecting you? Like, what have you been doing to stay busy?
Honestly, like this, like if it wasn't for a podcast, I'm pretty sure I'd have gone insane by now. I think it's because of this. It's like, okay, I have something to actually work. I mean, obviously school, but like there's only so much of school you can do before it gets annoying. But like with this, it's like, okay, I got to be creative and also like meet new people, talk about ideas, things like that. That 100%. Along with like PS4, I've been playing on PS4 like daily. So
you gotta love the video games. I was very tempted to get an Xbox, so I sold my Xbox One in October in the effort to just focus more on what I'm wanting to do with my career.
Right.
It's because it's so distracting, and it can be good. It can be good fun. It can be good in moderation. I just didn't recognize that I didn't have the self-control.
Oh, really? Yeah.
To be able to use it responsibly. So I just figured it would be better to not have it. And in recent times with everything that's gone down, I've definitely strongly considered getting one again. Hopping on the Warzone grind. Like one of my friends has a PS4 and they're just obsessed with Warzone. Like
Warzone's crazy.
Yeah. So whenever I've been over at his house, we're always grinding on that thing. So I would say like I'm kind of trash at most video games, even though I've been playing my whole life like shooters, but I love them so much. So I just keep playing.
True.
and sometimes I have decent days. Like, some days you're just off. That's me most days. And then some days I'm good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like honestly, like before quarantine, I don't think I
Yeah.
touched it at all. But like
Damn.
now, I've just so much free time. It's like, whatever. Might as well hop on. And then
Nice.
also, obviously, Call of Duty, and like everyone's playing it. So
Oh yeah,
and
100%.
stuff like
You have a
that.
nice little setup. Like, do you play on the couch or you got a desk with
No, I
remote and
just play
everything?
here. Yeah, on the desk.
Nice, nice.
Just
Yeah,
monitor. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
It's
Back
dope.
in
Yeah, it's fun.
back in the Fortnite days,
Ooh,
I was
Fortnite.
getting back really into that thing, and I got like keyboard and mouse and set up
Oh dang.
on the desk. I was still on the Xbox, mind you,
Mm.
and I was like, "Damn, it's so much easier to get good on this game." That was becoming a big
Yeah,
sweat.
yeah.
I don't like to remember those days.
Dang man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Honestly,
it's fun.
I feel like post quarantine, I'm sure my PS4 is gonna go back to like kind of just sitting there, but we'll
Yeah, yeah,
see.
because you get busy again. Like you
Yeah,
don't have the same amount of
yeah,
time.
yeah. I feel like this just like instead of travel time, I just play on the PS4. That's how. That's all that happens.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man. Yeah. So like now I want to ask you like in 5 years, what's your what's your I don't want to say your goals because I'm sure that's probably going to change, but like what do you want to have accomplished by then?
Yeah, yeah. So 5 years, I plan to be doing high-end music videos, like definitely with you know, big label stuff. And then I want to be getting
Mm.
into commercials. Um, I would like to say I could be doing high-end commercials, but I feel like um, I'd be somewhere in between like small commercials and medium size. Like that's probably my goal. Yeah, yeah,
Mm, okay.
definitely. I love music videos because of the creativity and I would say there's a very low barrier to entry. And then once you get
Right.
connected, it's a pretty small circle, so it's easy to get your name around and get out there. Uh, yeah, 5 years, I definitely see myself like doing high music videos, really zoned in on the fine aspects of cinematography and really taking. I feel like I could hopefully take the music video world as a whole kind of to a new level. I feel like that's a massive statement to say, and I feel like that's almost overstated. But uh, so many music videos don't focus enough on the fine details and making something special.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like that would be a mark I would like to leave on the music video industry.
So
Whether
yeah,
that's next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever.
right.
Like just
Yeah.
making a positive impact in that way and making the videos like something more with more depth. Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. So like kind of I guess your your end goal is like okay, you don't want to shoot a bunch of like music videos that are just basically like a bunch of cars, a bunch of like rich shit, right? There's like a bunch of girls and stuff like that. But you want to
Exactly.
actually have like different stories, but behind
Mhm.
each music video.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, music videos to me are more of a means to get to the end goal, which is narrative work, I believe. There's
Mm,
just something that is so special about it, being in an extremely structured environment where you're telling a full story, and you have all the assets with you of crew and lighting and studios behind everything, and you're actually telling a story and talent doesn't pull up 5 hours late and there's nothing you can do about
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I would say that's probably like my long term goal is like shooting movies. Honestly, like if I could be the
yeah.
next Ryder Deakins, man, like
Yeah.
that would be so sick.
Yeah, I
Like
was literally about to ask you,
in the
like, are
future,
you trying to eventually jump into movies?
definitely, definitely,
Dope,
yeah, yeah.
dope.
My goal is to one of my goals is to do a short film this year.
Mm,
Sounds like Chris V and I might be doing that. Um,
that'd be fire. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I would say that's like definitely one of my goals for this year is a short film.
So, so
Just get my hand in the video, hand in that kind of world. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, are you trying to go like? Do you want to jump into like a certain genre of movie, like a documentary,
No,
or is
I
it
mean
literally just whatever?
anything. Yeah, yeah. And it's such a long progression and like um, so many levels to get to that
Mm,
point. Um,
yeah.
and I think like the more I do this, the more I have perspective that there's so much I don't know. Uh,
Mm,
and if I'm completely honest, I don't know half or a quarter or an eighth of the steps to get to where I want to be at the very end doing movies.
Right.
But I'm going one step at a time and figuring out how to do it. And another note that I'm not quite sure yet how it would play into making movies as a DP. But I'm very big into being smart with money and diversifying income and that kind of thing. And I'm definitely working and learning on how I could take my passions in the film industry and apply that to a structured industry or some kind of business, a company that works in film that I could take an executive position in and be making more money with less work. Because at the end of the day, like, really, like, it's just great to be able to have that diversified income. Like, if think about all the people in the film industry who stopped working because of COVID and they had no income to back them up, and you know, just not being smart with their money. That's something that I want to avoid. You know, I want to be able to have a family and be able to, you know, take care of them and let them have nice things, that kind of thing. Like, I definitely have a strong desire to be well off, basically. And it's not the end goal. It's not the end goal, but your passion, what you're really passionate about, that type of thing will get you there. And I also really like real estate and the stock market, that type of thing. So I feel like real estate could definitely play into the film industry. Like Jacob Owens, this guy out in LA, Arizona, he has a few different companies. One of his companies works with building Airbnbs specifically for film productions. So he can offer it to low budget, you know, music videos and short films, whatever, who need a film set location, but don't have all the resources to build a set on a soundstage. So I feel like that could be a great way to diversify my income, is like through building sets. Maybe even doing like a rental house or something like that, where you can rent out gear, shoot your sets, and then make it even a production company, you know, something like that. Like, one of probably my biggest like business icon in the film industry would be like Steven Spielberg. What is his net worth? Like $3 billion. He owns DreamWorks, I think. He's somehow heavily pitched in that, and DreamWorks does massive productions. And he obviously owns some kind of part of that company, and whatever profits they're pulling in, he pulls in as well. So all these other people are doing work, but since he started it, that's making him money.
Residual, for sure.
Yeah. So he's someone I really want to study. I want to study him a lot and learn what he did to make it. Just considering how rich he is now.
Definitely. That's dope, bro. I like that. Like, you have your head in that space too. It's like, okay, I know, like, this is what I'm passionate about, but it's like you need something at the end of the day to fund it. Where, like, you don't have to work on it daily, but it's like, okay, I'm able to make something out of nothing, and then I get to spend the rest of my time doing whatever I want.
Exactly. So many creatives fall into a trap of not knowing how to make money with what they love, and financial literacy is not taught today. So all it takes is a bad hand to be dealt to you with family, maybe not having money or something, and then you're in a tough spot.
For sure.
And that's just something I don't want as a filmmaker, you know.
100%. Dang, bro. Yeah, no, that was super dope. Yeah, especially like I feel like today's like no one really knows how to be financially independent. Like, everyone's like, okay, you have to have a job, but like, what can you do to not work for it, but have your money work for you? So
it's the best feeling. Like I just started in investing like recently, and one day I woke up and I was like, dang, I just made some money overnight, and like I didn't do anything for it. Like, that's just such a cool feeling. And imagining just like scaling that to a massive degree, that would just be so awesome.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
And I just love the aspects of generosity and just giving to people who need money. And like I've seen people where I believe in them and I could see how $1,000 could change their life forever.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, so I just want to be able to live in a position. I want to be in a position to be able to help people who I care about and be able to build people up and really just encourage people to do what they love and how to be smart with their money and that type of thing.
Yeah, man, that's super dope, bro. But yeah, no,
appreciate it.
I feel like that's a great way to end it, just on a super positive note, man. Yeah, bro, this is super great conversation, bro.
Definitely.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
great talking
on,
with
man.
you. It was great. Yeah, I'm definitely was looking forward to this. Cool,
yeah,
cool having a podcast interview type thing.
Yeah,
on the hatch now.
Lit.
Yeah. Great talking with you. I mean, keep up what you're doing. It's really awesome. It's really dope.
Man. Thank you, bro. Yeah,
appreciate it.
Also, yes, obviously, guys, definitely go check out his Instagram, check out all his socials, all that stuff. Super dope work.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, man, check me out. Check out my socials. That's gonna link the bio.
Check out the Neverland podcast. Hey.
Hell yeah. Yeah, check out the episodes you may have missed. All that good stuff on YouTube. Comment, subscribe, notification. What all the other YouTubers say.
But you better do it. All that. Better do it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. But yeah, Jayson, thank you for coming on again.
Thank you, man.
Super dope conversation.
Yeah,
man. With that, out of here.
Peace.